every goddamn day.
Got it. No more bad words.
I know, right? We can't talk about Gérard Depardieu's Peri Delictos anymore, but what we can talk about is how much of a sex icon he is, how much animal magnetism he has on screen. Yes. And also how old Pierre Richard looks in this movie, which is...
Wait, which one is Pierre Richard? Is that the Martin Short?
Yes.
Okay.
Short Martin, yes.
Yes. Over this month of Francis Veber films, we've become very familiar with Mr. Richard.
Has he been in everything?
He's been in every French version, yeah. Except for The Dinner Game.
Right. That where he wouldn't have even made sense to be in that one, frankly.
Well, and this is his last time working with Veber. Apparently, Veber just dropped him like he was hot. Maybe he thought, this guy's looking old. I gotta move on.
He's not hot anymore. Speaking of not being hot.
So, Mike, you've been reading a book about Veber, and so you have some knowledge. I have some theories, but I haven't read anything. I'm curious if my theories match with your knowledge.
Okay,
we'll find out.
Yes, sounds good.
So yeah, in this episode of the Kulturecast, Richard Hatem is here. He's got his own podcast now. This is
right.
This is not the visual medium. This is not the visual medium. This is the audio medium. I promise. This is not that.
Are we doing plugs? Or
I'm just saying you have your own podcast now. You didn't the last time you were on this show. That's a factual piece of information.
Oh, that's right, because we've done recordings, but not this show. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Richard Hatem's Paranormal Bookshelf. Check it out. Come for the books. Stay for the oversharing.
Stay for the shelf.
Stay for the cum.
It's all about my shelf.
Shelf what? Booty? Got that shelf booty? Also joining us on this episode, because it's Mike White Mike White of the Projection Booth.
I'm here.
You sure are. All right, so it's the final episode of Mike White May. We've made it all the way to the end, and we're talking about, it feels like a kind of a culmination of a lot of things. You know, Pierre Richard, Gérard Depardieu showed up. It's them again, kind of doing the thing that they've kind of done before. But yeah, on this episode, we are rounding out Mike White May with a look at Les Fugitifs and the American remake, once again with Martin Short, because hey, he's not doing anything. Three Fugitives.
Touchstone Pictures presents the world's worst bank robber and the ex-con he took hostage.
You come with me!
They're two mismatched partners who can't seem to work together. Nick Nolte, Martin Short, Three Fugitives.
What's with the wig?
Rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
Mike, I'm going to kick it to you first. What did you think of these two films? If you want to give a plot synopsis while doing it, cool. If not, we can just talk about the plot. The plots of these movies are literally fucking identical, just like so many other things we watched this month.
Yeah. Well, I had to do a little research too, as far as this went, just to see how many times directors have actually remade their own films. And it's a lot more than you guys might know or think. I found a list that had at least 30 films that had been remade. So 60 altogether. Wow. By their own directors. So I think we can all think of a few things, you know, like Funny Games.
Oh, that's the first one that I thought of.
Night Watch, yeah. But then you even get like, you know, the story of Floating Weeds. You know, just there's a lot of these, which is interesting because I didn't know that. And this is a weird period of Weber's career because he does the Three Fugitives. Sorry, he does Les Fugitifs in 1986. He has no other credits between then and 1989 when he actually comes over to the United States and directs his own movie again right after. So what a weird time. And then after that, he goes on to do Out on a Limb, the Matthew Broderick film. So yeah, just a bizarre period of his career. Yeah, exactly the same, these two movies. Basically, it is the story of a guy who was accused of justly and put away for bank robbery and I think maybe some jewelry stick-ups as well. He gets out of prison, goes to a bank to make a deposit because he has either in the French version, he's got some jewelry that he sells and then it has the money and he wants to open up an account, or in the American version, he's made a lot of money doing laundry in prison for years and years, $1,700, and he goes to the bank to open up an account, only to have a imbecile come in and try to rob the bank. and that puts them in cahoots because then he gets taken hostage by the bank robber. And of course, the cops think that he's actually the bank robber because he's had a track record. And then they go on the lam. There's a little girl mixed up in there as well. The inept bank robber has a little girl who I guess he's afraid she's going to get taken away from him, and he's broke and all kinds of stuff. And then it turns into a heartwarming tale. And the man who was accused of robbing a bank is treated like a dog by a veterinarian.
In one film, it's Nick Nolte. In the other, it's Gérard Depardieu.
Nick Nolte looking really good in here, though not nearly as good as Gérard Depardieu.
Just that fucking hair, man. It's the hair and the nose.
That goes together.
On Gérard Depardieu, you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's Nick Nolte's steely blue eyes that have me captive. So, Richard, have you seen any Francis Veber films, and what'd you think of these two?
I don't think I have. I mean, you might, although you might inform me different. I came at this. I was saying before we started taping that Mike's done obviously some research about the careers of all the filmmakers involved, and I came to this. I had never seen Three Fugitives, which was the American release. I also had never seen the French version that preceded it by 3 years. So this was all brand new to me over the past 24 hours. And yet I did, confirm this for me. It did sort of make me go, oh, wait a second. Was this during that time when there were a handful of Three Men and a Baby, just a handful of French films that got remade as American films, and when that happens, especially with this one, and please inform me if I'm right or wrong, but it feels like a film gets made in a different country, but it's made in the American idiom and is clearly influenced by certain American tropes and styles. And then it is then either by plan or by chance noticed by Americans who then go, wait a second, that could very easily be an American movie, either recognizing or not recognizing that it was made under the influence of American movies. And then they, in a weird way, just sort of retranslated back into the American idiom with greater or lesser success. That's what this feels like, Mike.
This is that golden time. It's very funny because Chris and I and can't remember, was it Father Malone talked about the Man with One Red Shoe.
With Tom Hanks of all people.
Yes, which came out in 85, which was a remake of another Veber film, The Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe. In 81, Buddy Buddy was a remake of his Pain in the Ass from early in the 70s. 82, he writes and produces the film Partners, which I'm sure you remember, Richard, the one with John Hurt and Ryan O'Neal, where they're both gay guys, but one's closeted. I think Ryan O'Neal's closeted and John Hurt is not. That's 82, as well as the remake of The Toy, which was another Veber film that we've talked about. 83 is the Paris, which eventually gets made as, is that My Father?
That's the
Fatherhood. Okay.
Father's Day, the Robin Williams Billy. Yeah. Los Compadres, otherwise known as the Com Dads.
Yes, the Com Dads.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so what was Weber like? This sounds like a very calculated career move. Like, I want to do American movies, and I'm just going to do American movies in French until they realize I'm doing American movies. Then they're going to bring me over, and then I'm going to start doing American movies.
I don't know if that was his end goal, but I will tell you that when it came to all of these other films that we've talked about, they've had limited American runs. So The Toy played in America a little bit. Les Jouets, Pain in the Ass probably played in America a little bit. All of these had a little bit of an American run. Art house theaters, those kind of things, except for The Fugitives, because they said, we're going to hold this sucker back because we bought the remake rights. So the distributors blocked it from America so that there would not be a comparison to Three Fugitives.
Oh, that's
so you're right there.
That is so interesting, and that was a very canny move because it's not shot for shot, but it is beat for beat, just a retelling of the French film. So then, okay, but now I got to ask you, and again, I'll be the character in this podcast who doesn't know anything and pushes exposition because I need my questions answered. Did Weber go on to make American movies? Like, here's an American script and I'm just directing it.
He did Out on a Limb. He wrote and directed that, which was not originated in France.
Okay.
Otherwise, no. I think that was about it. So, I mean,
that's so strange because clearly that's what he wanted to do.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah. What's really weird is My Father, the Hero from
94. Yeah.
Was a remake of Mon Père c'est Eros, which I don't know if Weber had anything to do with that. I don't think he did.
He did not. It was Gérard Depardieu in both of them.
Yeah, so he like writes a remake, an American remake, but it stars Gérard Depardieu.
Again.
Yes, it's just bizarre. And then, like eventually they make The Birdcage, which was based upon his script for La Cage aux Folles, which was an adaptation of
so Weber was La Cage aux Folles.
Yeah, it was a play that he adapted. So it wasn't his play, I believe. I think it was somebody else's play.
But he wrote the script.
God.
Yeah. So by 94 with My Father, the Hero, I think by 96, he's back in France making Le Jaguar. So I don't think that in like Dinner Game and The Closet, Ruby and Quentin, all these, they're all French movies. So I think he just had a little like 2-year period here in the States, maybe 3, and then went back to France.
My Father, the Hero, by the way, Richard, because I could see your face, the plot of the movie, and I'm not joking. It is beyond fucking insane. So a father and daughter go on vacation, and do you know what the plot is?
I remember seeing the trailers. That's when my movie came out, a little cinematic triumph entitled Under Siege 2 Dark Territory.
Also starring Katherine Heigl.
Also starring Katherine Heigl. So in 94, in the summer of 94, when that movie came out here, right?
Yep.
Our movie was already in production. And so it's like, oh, so this is Katherine Heigl. Okay, so this is what American audiences will know of this actress. Let's see what this trailer looks like. And it looks like fucking Porky's with, middle-aged men or something.
I mean, a father and daughter having to pretend that they're lovers is beyond fucking insane and is like a Pornhub setup at this point. Like, it is like, I don't know how you would take it seriously in this day and age. Like, it's such a absurd concept that it doesn't even seem like the Fugitives is an absurd concept. Obviously, that's kind of the point of the setup. But a movie about a father having to pretend to be his daughter's lover is fucking bizarre, to say the least.
But what it comes down to was that, there are things. Look, every culture is different. There are things that make sense in terms of comedy in France or name your country, but right now we're talking about France. So there are things that a French audience might go, yeah, we're cool. We can laugh at that. That's funny. That's absurd. It's a sex farce, whatever. And because of our culture, we're not squeamish about that necessarily. Whereas American audiences, I think, were or are squeamish. I mean, I'm squeamish, and that was 30 years ago.
Well, there was also Blame It on Rio, which I think had a little bit of a like weird pederasty type of thing.
Oh, wait a second. Right. And Blame It on Rio was, we're going on vacation and I'm the dad who suddenly realizes that everybody wants to have sex with my daughter, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Real quick before I forget, I started a thought and I didn't complete it, which was when we were talking about the man with one red shoe. I believe Father Malone and I both brought up the idea of the woman in red. And I used to get the man with one red shoe and the woman in red mixed up. I just recently found, Richard, you were talking about 3 Men and a Baby, which was also a French film that got remade. And it was right around this time. The Woman in Red was actually a French film as well. So, which did not have red in the title. I think it was Pardon My Affair. And So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was probably another reason why I was getting those two movies mixed up, is because they're both French remakes and they're coming out right around the same time.
Mike, is there and in your research, maybe this has come up, was there like a sort of behind the scenes financial studio interrelationship that was sort of saying, okay, so here's kind of what this American studio wants to do is partner with the French, and we're gonna sort of use their movies as sort of a jumping off. Like how calculated was this in general? What was behind all this?
I'm not sure if I have those answers. I don't know of any sort of cabal that was. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if there was any like larger thing other than for this just one movie, as far as we're not going to release it in the States so that we can keep the audience for Three Fugitives and not get the inevitable comparisons from these snotty movie critics that just think they know everything.
Well, the 70s going into the 80s was such a time of technological leaps forward in filmmaking and film distribution, and also such a dominant period of American filmmaking that I tend to assume, maybe rightly, maybe wrongly, that other countries were sort of like, look, we either have to we have to get on this train, we either have to make films that will appeal to American audiences, or we have to make films that will appeal to American studios to be remade, because and then our artists might want to matriculate to America. Mm-hmm. To continue their careers for a larger audience, because when you make a French comedy, you're going to have an audience, but it's going to be limited compared to if you make an American comedy. And so I think a lot of people in the 80s were like, if we want to be filmmakers, we have to either go to America or appeal to America somehow, right?
Now, there was a major concern, especially in France, but I think all of Europe overall, about the idea of Americans exporting their culture to other countries. And so I believe there was a little bit of fear around Weber actually leaving the country, and like, will he ever come back? It was basically, like the brain drain or talent drain of Europe, and they were afraid of that. And they also didn't want the American films coming in and influencing stuff either. So yeah, it is interesting just how easily, sometimes easily, because over the last month we found some of these translate well and some of them don't. And for the most part, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I think almost always we've been falling on the side of the French version just because it has a little extra oomph, a little extra push to it.
Well, and it has been more or less the French one. I think I want to say, in terms of this month, The Man with One Red Shoe, I think, was the one that's kind of close in terms of it's similar, but it does something different. And then the other one, but I mean, Dinner for Schmucks was so different that it felt like it didn't feel like the same thing. But yeah, Pure Luck and Le Chèvre and what was the other one? Oh, The Toy and Les Jouets. I mean, oh my God, the American version of The Toy is insufferable. And then Le Chèvre, Pure Luck is equally insufferable. I will say, look, for this movie, for Three Fugitives, Martin Short is less insufferable than he was in the last movie. I actually like Martin Short in this movie more than in the last movie. However, that is damning with faint praise, because I didn't like him at all in the last movie. He was intentionally abrasive and obnoxious. And I mean, again, that's the way the character was portrayed, but that's not the way Pierre Richard portrayed the character. That was the way Martin Short did it. And so in this movie, it made sense because Martin Short and Pierre Richard are playing the same character, the same tone exactly. And I think it works better for Martin Short because it's like, okay, he's being driven by this external locus of control because he needs to like take care of his daughter, and he's taking care of his daughter. And I believe Martin Short and Pierre Richard. I believe both of them respectively in both of their movies. In Pure Luck, I did not for a second believe that Martin Short had any right or business being in that fucking movie the way that he's portrayed. And then the way that he's portrayed in the movie is like every scene that he's in, I just can't wait for him to shut the fuck up. Like really, like he's that abrasive. Here he's not.
What year was Pure Luck? Was it before this?
No, it's actually 2 years after.
2 years after. Okay, that's what I thought. So it will. I mean, there's a whole other interesting conversation I think about Martin Short's film career.
Boy, isn't there.
Well, kind of, but I mean, think about it for a second. I mean, think about the time and think about him and where he was coming from and what everyone's hopes and dreams were, because he's not, he's not John Belushi. He's not Eddie Murphy. He's very different than a lot of the other 80s comedy, Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, whatever. But he's got the cred of Saturday Night Live and SCTV, and people in Hollywood loved him. And so movies like Inner Space and this and Pure Luck and probably a few others, but really this one, I think, were what I would say was, can we turn Martin Short into the next Gene Wilder?
Interesting. Gene Wilder's name came up on last week's episode, because that's who was that Ryan who said, or was that you that said, like, I could see Gene Wilder playing this character in Pure Luck?
And that even went back to, I think, The Man with One Red Shoe
and Les Jouet.
Actually, and the toy.
Yeah, it was the toy. Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah, because we kept saying rather than Richard Pryor, it should have been Gene Wilder, and especially because he has some of that look that Pierre Richard has, and he plays his comedy a little bit closer as well.
The curly hair, like I thought Pierre Richard in Les Fugitifs almost looked like Harpo Marx with the trench coat and the curly hair. Yes. I was sort of like, I'm getting like a little bit of a Harpo Marx vibe, but and I really enjoyed him. I don't know him, and you guys. So we
don't know him either, but it feels like we do for whatever reason. Like there's just something about him. Look, Gérard Depardieu, his personal shit aside, there's just something about him that's like, I kind of vibe with you. And Pierre Richard, I like, he's considered to be one of the great French comedians. So like it makes sense, but there's something about him that seems like he just seems genuine, which is a hard quality to fake. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And Martin Short, it comes down to iconography. How is Martin Short best used? And I think with the span of time, what we now know is that Martin Short works best when he's being kind of insane and very, very unself-aware. In other words, earnestness does not suit him, and he doesn't carry it off as well as, for example, Gene Wilder, who can have those moments, who can also be manic, but you can also then completely, he can shift immediately, and you can take him for all the dramatic beats, right?
Right. But Martin Short, about him wanting, what was it, his Blanky in The Producers, that complete craziness. And then you get those little moments like in Blazing Saddles where he talks about, and then I hear this voice behind me that says, draw, mister. And then he ends it with that great, the little fucker shot me in the ass. It's like he knows how to use his tool. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and when he plays Willy Wonka. We could do, and I hope we do, the Gene Wilder podcast at some point. But Martin Short, who I love, I'm a huge Martin Short fan. What exactly is his range, and how did it get expressed in those late 80s, early 90s movies that seemed like they were really trying to find in him a unique comic voice that could then be in a bunch of movies? He wasn't Tom Hanks. He wasn't Chevy Chase. There was a lot of people he wasn't. He was this other thing, but it depended upon us accepting him as a legit human being, so that he could play a deeper level of comedy. And I don't know if he ever pulled that off. Three Amigos, fantastic. When he's in Father of the Bride, awesome. When he's in the Kevin Bacon movie about film school, the Big Picture. The Big Picture. And he's playing that insane agent, hysterical. The bigger, weirder characters where it's not a lead, I think that's his sweet spot. And literally up to and including Only Murders in the Building. I think the best season was this most recent one that allowed him to be almost like an SCTV character, where he's just losing his mind trying to direct this show and things are going wrong. And watching him melt down and have a heart attack is fantastic and hilarious. And that's where we want him. Now that he's older, maybe we can take the sincerity of an older man,
But as a younger man in this film, those were the beats that I felt were the least successful.
I just want to know why you haven't mentioned Jiminy Glick yet.
Well, yeah. Okay. And Jiminy Glick.
And Ed Grimley.
Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that's the one, right? I mean, it is.
Okay.
I mean, Ed Grimley is
But those weren't movies. Like he didn't.
No,
there
that's
was
just
no Ed
that's
Grimley
right.
movie. There was no Jiminy Glick movie. You know what I mean?
That's the thing that you did hit on, Ed. We talked about Short Martin last week, but we didn't talk about this aspect of it, which is he was on SNL for a year. He wasn't on SNL that long. He was on SCTV for 2 years. So he kind of like they saw something in him and they were like, he needs to be on SNL. He was on SNL for a year. That's it. Like that's not much of an it's not much of an impact. I know that's the thing too. It's like it wasn't the good SNL either.
By the way, you take Martin Short out of this movie and put in Robin Williams, and it's already 10 times better.
Yeah, boy, isn't it? I mean, take Martin Short out and put Gene Wilder. Take Martin Short out and put, oh man, this is going to sound terrible, but I think I come back to this from last week. Put anybody.
No, I don't think it's anybody. I don't think it's anybody.
It's not Martin Short, that's for sure.
It's got to be somebody who you buy in that character, who's got a manic, sort of obsession, but who you care about when they're being, and like Robin Williams, when he is being sentimental, it works.
My God.
It does.
I cried at the beginning of Mrs. Doubtfire, and at the beginning of the goddamn movie. Like,
in other words, yes, put Martin Short in Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, does that work? No.
Everybody would be singing its praises still in 2024. Remember Martin Short in Mrs.
By the way,
Doubtfire?
what was the name of that movie that Martin Short, because I mean, again, this is an industry trying to do something with Martin Short. It's like, we've got this thing called Martin Short. We got to do something with him. Remember that movie he did with Annette O'Toole, the romantic comedy?
Boy,
and it was all about the third date.
Cross My Heart?
It may have been that, but like on the poster, it was like, everything's about the third date. Like they were sort of inventing this thing where it's like, on the third date, you sleep together. And these two people are coming up on their third date, and it's either going to go right or it's going to go wrong. It's Martin Short and Annette O'Toole.
Boy,
I finally met her, the one I've been looking for my whole life. Now, how's a guy like me going to get a girl like that? Any way I can.
Cross My Heart, 1987's Armanian Bernstein film.
A comedy you will respect in the morning.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's so fascinating to sort of retcon what Hollywood was trying to do, because you can. It's so beautiful because there was a studio system. Hollywood was understandable in the 80s and into the early 90s, and then it sort of became diffuse, and now it is completely indecipherable. But in the 80s, you knew what Hollywood was trying to do. And this is what they were trying to do with Martin Short. And in this movie, it's not a disaster at all. It just wasn't super strong, And by the way, I have another recasting. Nick Nolte is a great stand-in for Gérard Depardieu. Mm-hmm. But I want to toss this into the conversation. Like, what would this movie have been if Weber didn't do it? And if they just bought it as a property and gave it to an American director and an American writer, and it's like, here's the material, make it into an American movie. What would those changes have been? I'm going to pitch a guy I think would have been great in the Nick Nolte role, and that is Burt Reynolds.
I could see you.
See that. Yeah.
I could see you even going as far as like a Schwarzenegger type, really, like, again, ex-con, like maybe punch it up a little bit more. But again, like part of it is the dichotomy between the straight man and who is melted by the child, and then the manic moron, right? Like,
I've always said that Jim Carrey and Arnold Schwarzenegger should have done them together.
Oh my God! Can you imagine in the mid 90s? For fuck's sake! Like,
could one screen hold them?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
that's why they never made that movie together.
God,
it literally would have been like a speedball. Audiences would have died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One partner is serious, the other is funny. And that's all it is. It's like Ace Ventura meets Red Heat. Fuck, I would watch that movie. I'd watch that movie now. Like, I would still watch that movie.
Now, there's also something weird about the movie. Okay, this story. Now that we've seen it twice, it's like, okay, I'll reflect on my experience of watching the French version, which was when I'm watching any foreign film, I'm taking a step backward because I'm like, okay, I'm not French. I don't live in France. I don't really know the nuances of the culture. So if certain emotional beats are off to me, I'm going to blame me. And I'm going to assume, well, maybe I don't get it. Maybe in France, it makes perfect sense if two people act that way, or if a person does this instead of that. I'm just going to, I won't judge right now. Whereas with an American movie, you're like, well, we're an American. We know what American movies look like. So why is this so slow or weirdly not funny, or the beats are, and here's what's strange about this. This is not a comedy drama. This is a comedy melodrama. We're going to have laughs, but the dramatic beats are all going to be melodrama. It's all going to be Charlie Chaplin and a little child and sentiment. I mean, just the gooey sentimentality of it that in the French version is unapologetic, but in an American version, I think you need to reformat a little, because that's not the way we consume comedies, dramas, action movies. That's not the way we consume anything. Melodrama really isn't a part of the American film idiom of the last 50 years. So those are the moments, again, also that I think are the ones that ring the most false, or that feel like, something's off here. This isn't passing the smell test. Somebody wrote this with their left hand. This ain't working.
Everything with Nick Nolte and the child actor in the American one is just the most insufferable shit possible. And here's the thing. I say that because in the French one, it's so endearing. The American one just feels like a poor facsimile. And in a way, like you said, Richard, it just rings hollow. I don't believe for a second, I believe Nick Nolte a little bit. I don't believe that this child is Martin Short's child at all. I believe that is Pierre Richard's child in the French one, and I can believe their interactions, and I can believe the three of them, and I can believe the moment that the French film gets to, which on top of everything else, they're identical until the last 2 minutes. And then the American film, and I'm again putting this lightly, shits the bed in a way that's really hard to imagine, which is, it's just the same movie's going to happen again. You really thought that this movie was that funny that that's how you end this movie, to rob the entire emotional core of the movie away from the movie at the last second for a cheap fucking gag? What is this, Friday the 13th? It was shocking. Well, in the French one, because I watched the American one first and the French one second. At the end of the French one, I was like, okay, is something gonna happen? I was like, no. And then the credit crawl came at the bottom. I was like, oh, this movie actually understands that there is something here that matters. The American one doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care that there's an emotional core to the movie, because that's because there never should have been a kid in the American one, is what the reality is. Why even?
Well,
I know. It changes the movie.
I mean,
yeah.
But
the kid could be off screen the entire time. I mean.
But the thing is, no. I think you've got to give it to an American writer who then goes, okay, well, see, I'll tell you another weird thing. An American audience does not expect a movie that ends with, oh, they're just leaving America and they're still criminals, and we didn't like the deal an American movie makes with their audience when it's a comedy is, at the end, they're all going to be in a place where they all explain what they haven't explained yet. And some reasonable person in a place of authority is going to go, okay, of course, Martin Short, you and your daughter get to stay here in America. We'll figure out your case. You didn't mean to do that, or we're going to let you off with probation, and this guy's going to help you out. And everyone's going to stay in America, and everything is going to come back to stasis. It's like it gets blown up, but then it all comes back. This one, it gets blown up, and then it's just like, we got to get out of town.
But that's what makes sense.
That's an American story. It's just
no. Well, also, I mean, again, also the size of this country is part of the problem. I mean, Europe is a densely populated place with a lot of borders that are easy to get to. I mean, part and parcel to the story. They have to go to Canada in the American one.
That's no way to end an American film.
Well, that's not. Yeah.
It's weird that they didn't go down to Mexico, and that could have almost been a prequel to.
Well, that's even worse.
The Chivra. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are decisions in the American movies that I'm just like, but there's also a couple things that I actually liked better. As far as I really like James Earl Jones and Alan Ruck, and I like them, and I like how they laugh after the Kenneth McMillan character is in there talking about how he was treating him like a dog and everything. I like too when Martin Short and Nick Nolte are under the car and the gun goes off and the oil comes pouring out. I was so surprised that didn't happen in the French version. This was the first time that I've watched the American version before the French version, which puts a whole different spin on things. But I will say there are a lot of things in the French one I like more, especially the gag at the beginning with the little guy who runs out and tries to get the bag off of the light. I thought it was much more effective to have it as almost, I think it was like a oneer where the guy runs out from behind the counter and then starts jumping, rather than there being like cut back to Martin Short, cut back to this guy, cut back, and I'm like, yeah, stop cutting. You don't need all these cuts in here. It's much funnier if you think he's a normal sized person. He runs basically down a ramp that you can't necessarily see that clearly, and then comes out and he's so super short. And then he's shorter than Pierre Richard, who is not a short person, but he's definitely, he's taller than Martin Short. But that little guy just jumping and I do like when Martin Short, though, just pushes the guy against the counter. It's just like, get out of here kind of thing. But yeah, there are some good things in the American version. I won't say that it's all bad, but it was a really weird experience to see these two movies back to back and just have them be so similar.
For me, having seen the French one first, American one second, and I love Kenneth McMillan, but that was the most disappointing part. I think that gag worked better, and I think it worked specifically better because in the American version, it's almost like he literally thinks Nick Nolte is a dog.
Right.
Whereas in the French version, it's just like I treat every patient the same way.
Right.
So I'm just going to come up. He's not calling him a doggy or he's not acting like he mistakes him for doggy. He's just, well, let me feel his nose. Okay, here, bite on this. Okay. And it's just that, I laughed out loud. I found that to be very, very funny and super effective and super charming. And it made me try to think, well, are there movies sort of in the 80s that just get by on character charm and like a cast of eccentric people? And for some reason, my mind went to Roxanne, the Steve Martin movie.
I thought you were about to say Clue.
Well, but Clue was such a mannered farce.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very divorced from reality, and it was heightened, whereas Roxanne was just sort of sweet and low key and charming, which I think this is what they were going for. And my God, that 1980s sort of saxophone synth score.
Ooh,
it was so 80s it hurt. It's so 80s it hurt.
There was a moment in the American Fugitives where I started doing like the steel drums, because I was like, this is basically the Commando soundtrack without the steel drums. I was like, this is so obnoxious.
Thank you for pointing that out, because when I heard it, I was like, oh God. Like it's all over the place, all over the movie.
That music to me doesn't evoke anything specific other than sort of generic, non-threatening, relaxing good time.
Kenny G.
It's Kenny G. It's almost like elevator music or like music you listen to out, on the beach in 1987. It's like there's a radio station out here in Los Angeles called The Wave, and it's all rock. That sort of Sade. And but then a lot of Kenny G, David Sanborn, God rest his soul. So those soundtracks don't age very well, and it didn't help here either. Also, I didn't like I thought the little girl in the French version was more had a more inviting face, like a sweeter face. This girl had a little bit of a, like she was smelling a bad smell kind of face.
RBF, yeah.
I don't want to say that about a child, but I know.
Right. I was so surprised that in the French version, the whole thing is when Pierre Richard's character Okay, a couple of things. Sorry, I'm going to go for a little rant here. First off, Pierre Richard and Martin Short, they both come into the bank and they both are wearing stockings over their head, and they pull the pin from the grenade and the stocking opens up. It's really fucking funny. What killed me, though, was I was reading the trivia for this on IMDb, the source of all knowledge, right?
In the known universe.
Yes, in the entire universe, man. And they were like, oh, it was just a lucky thing that the nylon ripped over Martin Short's head. I was like, bullshit, it's lucky they did the exact same gag in the French version. Of course they meant to do this. Then I went and I fucking watched brace yourself, the Filipino version of the film, and they have the same gag with the damn thing with the stockings. Yeah. I'm just like, all right, this is part of it. But I was going to say that, so when these characters come into the bank, they're holding a grenade and they pull the pin and they're like, we're going to let go of this grenade. The American version, of course, the grenade goes off and blows up the car. I was so surprised they didn't do that in the French version. I was kind of glad that they didn't do it. They just left that joke. They didn't feel the need to show up. Yeah.
My favorite gag in both movies, I think, it works pretty well in both just because the physicality of both the actors is when Nick Nolte and or Gérard Depardieu is throttling Pierre Richard and or Martin Short against the police bench podium booking desk. Yes. And he's just throttling him so hard that the whole thing is just rattling. That for me is just like, okay, you're getting across what I need to understand about this pairing by him just throttling him physically. And then they never kind of go back to that physical comedy between the two of them as much. But there are moments in the American one that I laughed at. Really only because I laughed at him in the French one, and it's the exact same thing.
Well, I think the best example of that is when Nick Nolte tells Martin Short, or when Gérard Depardieu tells Pierre Richard, when you're out walking in public, look down, don't look up, don't make eye contact. And that hitting that pole the two times, and literally, and I love the fact that Weber is just like, no, we're going to the same lens, the same exact timing, framing, everything, because it was perfect in both movies. The hit and then the double hit. There were a number of those that I found impressive. That scene you were just talking about, Chris, in the police station, that then led to pushing the one cop who falls over backwards. then the character
Larry Miller
the gun
in
away.
There, by the way.
Larry Miller. Oh my God, that's right. I'm like, is that Larry Miller? And it was Larry Miller.
That was so great.
But then running out and bam, hitting that cop, and then bam, hitting the other cop. And it's done in a real tight frame so that though you really feel those hits in both versions. And I'm like, wow, now we're almost getting shot for shot.
Fucking Haskell Wexler in the American version. That was surprising.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Maybe he loved French film and just wanted to hang out on set and talk to Weber about French cinema.
The real question is, why is Brian Thompson just being cast as man who gives pants to Nick Nolte after giving pants to Arnold Schwarzenegger a couple of years earlier?
Nice night for a walk, huh?
Yeah. I like that. Again, IMDb, the source of all knowledge in the No universe, they have him as billed as Second Thug, also known as Yahoots Magundi.
Right.
which if I've ever heard a fake name before, Yahoots Magundi is one of
It's kind of like Who's Yehudi, the old song that everybody used to sing back in the 1940s. Speaking of throttling, so the little girl is she's kind of a MacGuffin in this whole film, right? She's just like, all right, now she's here, now she's there, now she's gonna, give Nick Nolte a glass of water. Now she's gonna be in the orphanage. Oh, but she's in she's sick. And one moment when they kidnap her, well, first off, I love when they kidnap the wrong kid. That's pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
But there's one moment after they kidnap her from there and take her back to they find a rich person's house. Nick Nolte grabs this little girl, and I hope that it was a dummy instead of a real person, because he starts shaking her so hard, and I'm laughing like crazy. And my wife, who used to work Child Protective Services, says, I don't think that's funny at all. And I'm like, oh, man.
Oh, please don't tell her I laughed at that.
I laughed so hard, man. That was so funny just to see him shake. Wake up.
It's like at a Scary Movie 3 where it's like a shake the child so much the head falls off, for fuck's sake.
No, that was upsetting. And it wasn't a funny beat anyway, because it wasn't supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be like people in emotional extremis shaking a child, which is what leads to those children dying. So,
yeah,
I agree with your wife, Mike.
Oh, you're such a funny duddy.
Wow. I agree with you, Mike, because I found the humor in the child being shaken by Nick Nolte. Giant. Can we talk about Nick Nolte for a second?
Yeah.
I love him. He's great. I haven't seen him in enough stuff other than this and Tropic Thunder, where he's just, I mean,
oh God, you're killing.
No, first off, he's great in Tropic. He's
Chris, you saw 48 hours.
Did
we?
we?
Have seen 48 hours.
Did we? No.
Talk about 48 hours?
No.
God damn it, Reggie. What are you doing to me? Yeah. It's
I'm
so
trying
good.
Have I
How did
seen
we not?
48
Who did I
hours?
talk? Who did I talk about 48 hours? It wasn't you.
Did we
Was
do
there a
48
paranormal aspect of it, Richard? Did you do it on Richard Hatem's Paranormal Bookshelf?
Available on all podcasting platforms.
You shameless shilster, you. How could you? On this network, on this show, you're God, you know what, Richard? You're fired.
In this economy?
Yeah, I did do an episode on 48 hours. I just didn't remember, but that's literally it for things I've seen, I guess. And that mugshot, which is really.
Let's give Chris a little bit of a tutorial here, Richard.
Well, what do you
North Dallas
down around
40,
Beverly Hills or what? What are we going to
which
say?
was another remake of a French film, right?
Guys, Omaha, Nebraska's own Nick Nolte, mind you.
Oh, wow. All right. So Nick Nolte. Okay, real quick here. Let me give you a Nick Nolte breakdown.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
God,
I have spoken. Who'll Stop the Rain? North Dallas 40. I remember liking Cannery Row a lot.
Wait, pause. Give us the years for North Dallas 40.
North Dallas 40, 79. Who'll Stop the Rain, 78. 48 Hours, 82.
Yeah.
Down and Out in Beverly Hills, 86. Extreme Prejudice, 87. Now, I'm not just reading titles here, Chris. These are recommends.
No, I'm listening. Yeah. I just assumed you were reading everything, and you're going to say The Zookeeper next, where he voiced a gorilla.
No.
Oh.
Cape Fear, 91. I never saw Prince of Tides. Never saw Lorenzo's Oil, even though that's our boy George Miller.
Oh no, yeah, no. I saw that in high school. You're right, boy. What a movie to show to high schoolers! A child screaming for an hour and a half.
Oh yeah.
And that was
Mother
Nolte
Night.
doing his Italian accent.
Hey, it's me, Lorenzo. Would you like some oil?
Mother Night in 96 is one of his best performances, I think.
Okay, now we're getting.
Which was the one? What was the bus movie? Was that Affliction or was that something else? There was the one with the bus. No.
I was like,
I thought he was in that one. I must be thinking of Affliction because was that also Adam McGuigan? Because I get that, and no, that was Paul Schrader. Shit, there was one I thought that he worked on, which was this bus crashes, and I want to say Ian Kellen.
That was based on a novel, wasn't it?
Yeah. Of course, Hulk.
I was about to say, please mention 2003's Ang Lee directed The Hulk, the height of art house superhero films.
Yeah, I can't really recommend too much more past that because I'm not familiar with a lot of these. But yeah, those ones that I listed off, and apparently we will be seeing him in Noah, or was this a different Noah? But yeah, those are the ones.
It is that Noah.
Okay, and then of course his turn in Poker Face last year was great.
That's true. Yeah.
For me to recommend 48 Hours is like recommending Ghostbusters or something. Mm-hmm. It's like,
or Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, it's like you've probably already seen it, but if for some reason you're out there listening to this and for some reason you're interested in Nick Nolte, I think 48 Hours is a very good movie, but also a very good representation of what the Nick Nolte iconography is, right?
Well, his work with Walter Hill, I think, is the best stuff that he did. I think Extreme Prejudice and even another 48 Hours, I remember liking that, not as much as the first one, but I think when he was working with Walter Hill, he was doing a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, we did cover, Richard, you, Cullen, and I covered 48 Hours during the years of 2022 when we did Buddy Cop movie, which is when I also watched Lethal Weapon.
Good times, man. Good times.
Pastoral times even.
The one I was trying to think of was The Sweet Hereafter. That does not have Nick Nolte in it. That has Ian Holm in it. Also, though, based on a book by Russell Banks, who also wrote the movie that Affliction was based on. So maybe that's why I'm getting mixed up. 2 Russell Banks movies coming out in 1997.
I'm just more familiar with Nick Nolte's voice work when he was in Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore. Obviously, lit up the screen.
His Ugnaught was pretty great.
Yeah, his Ugnaught was pretty good. That's true. Again, best view.
When he died, that was spoilers for The Mandalorian several years ago. But when he died, that was actually very heartbreaking for me.
I actually remember liking him in that. I like Nick Nolte a lot. That's why I mentioned it. Like he is not miscast, I don't think. Not in I think in terms of like, is he an analog for Gérard Depardieu? I think he has the similar physicality, the similar kind of he's more gruff. I don't really get gruff from Gérard Depardieu. I just get like he's not going to suffer any fools. I get that from both of them, but Nick Nolte is I mean that voice that he has, god damn, man. I wish I had his voice, really. Like
they almost have the same hair color and hairstyle as well. And by the way, Chris, I can't imagine listening to an 1.5-hour podcast by Nick Nolte. I think that might get a little much after a while.
Can you imagine?
This is sponsored by Casper mattresses. I sleep great every night on my Casper mattress.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, the Nick Nolte hour featuring Nick Nolte and who else?
Use promo code Nick, get 20% off.
Boy, yeah. Richard Hatem, everybody. If you guys could see Richard right now, the faces that he's making at us.
I was going to say something, but then this became so entertaining. I just want to hear the Nick Nolte hour. So,
but that's the question: is Nick Nolte and who? Like Gilbert Gottfried? You got to have two like disparate voices between the two of them.
I think it's him and Tom Waits singing it.
The Gargling Gravel podcast featuring Nick Nolte and Tom Waits.
This is now an SNL sketch.
Pretty much, yeah. Who can gargle more gravel? I think in terms of what the movie needs out of Nick Nolte, it's great, but I just wish why is Martin Short is not a question worth asking, because again, I don't want to besmirch the existence of him, but why both Francis Veber movies? Isn't that the real question?
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. Yeah. Cause like this one was Veber. I mean, obviously you've got your casting people and everything, but him choosing to work with Martin Short and having him be that stand-in for Pierre Richard, was he involved in I'm trying to see if he was even Pure Luck. Okay, yeah, he was an executive producer.
Yeah.
So he must have liked what Martin Short was doing. So
Martin Short really is the American Pierre Richard.
Yeah. I mean, there is a certain logic to the casting,
I guess.
However, I will say, though, I think we were talking about it a little earlier, but I think the main thing that would have changed in an American version is that in the end, they would not have left the country. There would have been a way for them to all remain together. Everything would get explained, but the devotion of this group would still be, they would still be a bonded group. But I also think the very next thing as an American screenwriter in the 1980s or any time, the very next thing you would do is create a female lead character to be the ex-wife of Martin Short or the long-suffering girlfriend of Nick Nolte. And then they would come back on the scene and they would have 2 or 3 scenes and they would be they would be part of that family possibly, but you would have a female lead character. And that is something that neither of these films had. I'm not saying that's a good idea. I'm saying that would have happened.
Box office poison.
I love how they are not having a female lead except for Martin Short. The way that they,
oh boy,
I'm being completely serious here.
No,
when they put both him and Pierre Richard in drag at the end, and you've got like them literally in the French version, he never changes out of the dress, and it's Pierre Richard, it's Gérard Depardieu, and the little girl all walking off hand in hand across those mountains. Like, this is their new family. You now have, and really the way that the little girl gloms onto Nick Nolte, she's got a father there, but it's almost like, no, he's not any good as a father. I want this guy to be my father. You can be my mommy. I mean, like, it turns that on really quick. Like, oh, mommy, don't worry about it. Oh, mommy, you look so pretty. And he's just like, call me mommy. And I'm like, no, that's your role in this movie now. And that's your role in life, pretty much. I think you are now the bitch.
And so I wanted to mention the sexual politics in this movie. It becomes a thing all of a sudden in the movie where, Martin Short or Pierre Richard has to go, I guess, would we say not in drag, but I mean,
it's drag.
I guess, like he's in a dress and in a wig, and I like
in drag too.
Right. And I like that. I like that in the French one, that actually factors into the payoff of the movie. He sees him tripping in his dress and goes, oh man, like, I'm gonna have to stick around. The American one, it's, oh look, he's about to be murdered. Like, I need to help him. Like, I get. The stakes are very disparate. And again, at the end of the American one, it's just like, you didn't earn this. And if anything, you're robbing the movie of any emotional like stakes that it had.
Well, and because it was a uniquely American filmmaking touch to sort of complete the conceptual circle at the end, that in other words, it stood out in a discordant way because they didn't really do that throughout the rest of the movie. They didn't really try to go, I mean, just this orphanage and the nurse who runs the orphanage who has a gun. There were just so many beats that felt like, what part of America are we in?
It didn't feel like America at all, which is why it doesn't, like, so much of the second and third act of the movie doesn't really translate in the American one, because I'm like, where is it like this anywhere? It's like when they when they go into the police station in the American one, I was like, how are they realistically going to get out of this short of Schwarzenegger driving a car through the front of it? Because it's so unrealistic for them to be in a police station in the United States and they're not just immediately cuffed and dragged to the back. It's like, this man right here. It's like, I believe it in the French one, but even in the French one, all of a sudden they pull out a machine gun and start shooting at the back of their car. So,
which was amazing.
I was like, whoa, they have like a grease gun and they're just lighting the street up. Okay, sure.
In the French one, there was a marked lack of dialogue, and to me, I thought, I wonder if they still have a comedy tradition that is more almost silent.
Yeah. I mean, this is only a few years. I mean, Tati might still have been making movies at this point, but I think it was just a little past his time. But yeah, between him, I mean, Marcel Marceau, but I mean, Jerry Lewis, almost all of his stuff was silent. I mean, The Bellboy, I don't think he says a word in it.
But you're right, but which was an outlier. And by the 80s, comedies weren't really, even comedies that were very physical, like Jim Carrey comedies that came in the 90s, were still just packed with dialogue. Every moment people are on screen, they're talking, including Jim Carrey. In this movie, that lack of that sort of feeling of quiet, again, not common in big major releases that are supposed to be wild comedies. And I think that's another thing that would have changed. There would have been a lot more of the Oscar Felix back and forth. What are you doing? What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm doing the thing. Why are you doing the thing? You know, that's the sound of American comedy. French comedy is quietly watching someone walk, then fall.
Yeah. I mean, the man with one red shoe and the tall blonde man with one black shoe. That the man with one red shoe is a dialogue-driven movie. The man with one black shoe is a like you talking about a movie with very little dialogue. And the dialogue that it has is not being spoken by the Pierre Richard character. It's by everybody else. He's just kind of fumbling and bumbling his way through things, which does work. But when they do the American one, it's like, we have to explain everything that's going on. Like, I don't need you to explain to me why a man walking into a closed door is funny. I get it. I don't need you to hang a fucking lantern on it. It makes perfect sense.
I mean, I know that the Pink Panther movies were not ever foreign films, but because of their setting and because of Peter Sellers, the early ones, Shot in the Dark, Pink Panther, almost had the feeling of being British, if nothing else. And those sort of got away with it, but the Steve Martin remakes were just as much about his weird accent and wordplay. They were very verbal movies.
Just for the record, the last Monsieur Hulot film was 1971. And the first film that Pierre Richard directed and starred in was 1970. So for me, it was almost a passing of the torch.
And then we got Roberto Benigni.
He's Italian, but yes. But yeah, he would have been good. And he was making Jim Jarmusch movies by this time.
He kind of, Pierre Richard and him kind of have the same energy, don't they? Huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Martin Short hasn't remade Life is Beautiful.
God, can you imagine that? Or that live action Pinocchio that Roberto Benigni did. Yeah.
Well, he was both Pinocchio and Geppetto. Just depends on which movie you're watching.
God, I think we could do an entire podcast on like late 80s, early 90s cop, like not cop movies, but like criminals forcing themselves upon unsuspecting people, cops and Robertsons. This goddamn movie, the critically acclaimed Arthur Hillard directed Carpool, starring David Paymer and Tom Arnold, criminals forcing themselves on normal people. Don't you want to watch that, Richard? Right now?
Black man?
I mean, sort of.
Cops and Robertsons with Chevy Chase and what? Jack Palance?
We'll be watching that.
Yeah, won't we?
Enough time has passed that it is a little bit easier to watch these movies and not be crushingly disappointed that they aren't as funny as the funniest movies that were coming out.
Right.
Which is how they were. I mean, that's how you experienced them at the time the movie came out. It was just sort of like, well, yeah, but it's, what were the other comedies in 1989? I'm sure there were a handful that were just fantastic. And I don't think this was one of them.
No. And again, what's weird is, like we've kind of already alluded to, like, I can't imagine holding the American, like holding the original one back is so bizarre to me. By the way, to answer your question, such great films as Weekend at Bernie's came out, guys. So
1989 was a big year. Don't forget that. That was Ghostbusters 2.
UHF.
Yeah. Major League.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Look Who's Talking.
Back to the Future Part 3.
Maybe this was just
Lethal Weapon 2.
Horrible era.
No, it was actually a good era because this was also the same year that Batman first came out and Roadhouse, and you don't get better than Roadhouse. So
it's kind of a shame that none of the American ones, other than, I mean, again, because Dinner for Schmucks is so its own thing. Really, the only American version of any of the films that I would say like that are close in terms of the plot, the only one I could really suggest anyone watching is really The Man with One Red Shoe.
So 3 Men and a Baby is no good?
No, I would not. I still do not like The Man with One Red Shoe.
That's fair.
Tom Hanks, and it does not do anything for me. And no, 3 Men and a Baby was a different filmmaker. I'm sorry, Richard.
But it was French.
It was French, yes.
Was it any good? Was the American version with Gutenberg any good?
The American version?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only one I've ever seen. I mean,
how was it?
You've never seen 3 Men and a Baby?
No,
I haven't either.
Chris has never seen a Nolte film. Okay,
that's okay. But I saw the one with the gorilla voiced by Nick Nolte. That counts.
I honestly thought that everybody our age, Richard, had to have seen 3 Men and a Baby. It's good. It's funny. There's some good lines. I mean, fucking dancing is amazing.
It's directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Good. Yeah, it was the first non-Star Trek thing directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Not to be confused with Holy Matrimony, which is a film where a child marries an adult.
Exactly.
But
I'm a child.
Did Leonard Nimoy get to follow up 3 Men and a Baby? Like, did they did he get a
3
blank
Men and a
check?
Little Lady. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because that was a huge hit.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, before I forget, I did want to say that Tunay na mag Bigemena Walang Iwanan X-Men, not as good as either one of these. So just so you know.
And what was that?
The fuck
which
did you just say to me?
That was
Not the Filipino version?
yes. The English translation is True Friends Leave No One Behind. X-Men. I don't know why Pexman is at the end of the title, but
Mike, I didn't know you
That's what
spoke
it is.
Tagalog.
I do not.
Having
I
a
do
stroke,
not.
Inspector?
Yes.
I was like, what is he? What are you like chewing us out, or did we do something wrong?
Yeah, I was having a stroke. So, yeah, no, it was so funny because I kept thinking, I mean, IMDb just sucks so fucking much. Like that, sometimes you can find where it says a remake of or a version of, but not every single thing that is the remake gets the same, trivia or connections type of thing. So it's like, finally I find, because I'm like, they never made this in another country. This feels like it would be a perfect like Indian film or something. And
Right?
looked around and
Chris.
found, no, it was a Filipino film from 1994.
Yeah, where's the version of this with who would be in the Indian version? It would be Shah Rukh Khan and Sanjay Dutt. That's who it would be, because you have to have one guy who's gruff and the other guy who's very charming. Well, so that's the thing.
No,
Shah
the
Rukh
Doom
Khan's
guy.
too charming. Yeah.
Doom.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Fuck, man.
With
Shah Rukh Khan
Chopra
could play
and,
both roles, man.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Shah Rukh Khan in a double role, like a bunch of other movies he's also been in.
Yeah, and then
Indian
it'd be
films
even more
love that.
confusing, because it's like, is he the hostage? No, when he went in, he was wearing this, but now he's wearing that. They must have switched clothes.
Yeah, the Prince and the
Abhishek-
Pauper.
Abhishek Bachchan and what's his name? Chopra.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The two of them would be pretty good. Yeah, you
Come
couldn't have Shah Rukh Khan be the Martin Short character. He's way too endearing
Yeah.
to be that like abrasive.
No, Amir Khan could do that though.
Yeah, I could see that. He's played like in PK. He played kind of a weirdo. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Or they should remake it now with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
No, right now it'd be Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Kevin Hart.
No, it's
Yes!
it's Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Yeah, We're bringing them
There
back
you go.
together through the magic of comedy. Everybody,
Mhm.
They were never on screen. They were never on set at the same time.
right? All done in post.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The images
they
were married
both fingered
together.
it, and
Yeah.
it's Will Smith didn't even know he was in the movie.
I think we should pencil in a time to do 3 Men and a Baby. Apparently, Richard, we've missed out on the cultural touchstone that is seeing a ghost child in a crib.
Yeah, I've never seen 3 Men and a Little Lady, the sequel, but I wonder
Guys,
how that is.
I'll do whatever you want.
Wow, don't put yourself into that position. The Danson cast, Ted Danson, everybody.
Fucking Ted Danson's got his own podcast now. Him and sometimes Woody will be talking about Cheers on their Where Everyone Knows Your Name podcast. I think
This is a big thing now. Everyone's doing it, and they're not all as good as the original.
Or you mean they're not as good as people who podcast all the time, not pretending to be it just because we want to win awards at a bullshit award show?
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, no, but they're getting huge. I mean, look, the
Oh, I
Office
know.
ladies
Oh, we know.
came in. I don't, and
We
I
are
don't
well
know.
aware.
Wait, Richard, they're getting big
Listen.
numbers. Wait a second, really?
One day, no, what I was going to say though is one day, the story will be told. I don't know if they went in. I think they went in and it became a big deal. And then suddenly other people were like, I will happily talk about the show I starred in for $1 million
Yeah.
or for some giant. And I think that's why you're seeing all these now, the rewatch. And I'm just talking about the rewatch, the Ted Danson and stuff like that. The ones like Smartless, I think those are just big entertainment companies going, you three guys, we're going to throw money at you and you go do a podcast. And who knows, maybe it's paying off. I have no idea.
I mean, we do know. we have an inkling of an idea. Maybe we don't have all the proof in the world, but look, if you were on a TV show at some point in the last 30 years, even if you're like a B or C lister, somebody's gonna be like, hey, you want to make like easy, dumb money really quickly for no reason?
But I don't, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what those numbers, okay, there is a new girl, Zoe Deschanel, and
Jake Johnson?
her no.
I don't know
her
anyone from
castmates.
that show.
The guy who plays Winston and the girl who plays Cece, and Hannah Simone, and oh god,
Winston
I
was
love
played
him.
by Winston Zeddemore was
Ernie
Ernie
Hudson.
Hudson. Yeah.
no. Anyway, those three cast members do a rewatch podcast of New Girl that is not as good. It just isn't. And they're not always all there, and they don't. I mean, I really like Office Ladies. I use that as a high watermark in terms of content. I like the way they do theirs. I don't know what these others are, but they're clearly trying to jump on that easy money, because you figure, well, if people like that and these are the stars, there's Parks and Recollection.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. Rob Lowe was doing that for a long time, I think, until he got busy, and now it's the guy who played Jerry.
Wait a second. Rob Lowe is busy doing what? Oh, being an actor and not pretending to be a podcaster. Huh.
Yeah.
I'm not.
This is a hot button. This is as hot as true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
Look, you're talking to three guys who are just trying to do original content.
More or less. I mean, by making fun of other people's stuff or talking about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
We're just ripping off their intellectual property.
I mean, we're just really ripping off How Did This Get Made at this point. We're just three jokers yakking away, saying Geostorm a bunch, and having nothing of value to really add to the conversation other than just dragging other people because they made something. Huh. That sucks. Would be a shame if they won an award for that. Richard just
Chris,
like,
where can we find you when you're not there?
I heard like the beeping in Richard's head as the car started to back out of the dead end alley. Beep, 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 beep.
That's right.
How do we get out of here?
We seem to have run aground.
We seem to have wandered into podcasters being angry part of town. All right, Richard, final thoughts on
We didn't even talk about Bruce McGill and his mustache or anything, but hey, we'll save that for another time.
Bruce McGill's mustache could have its own podcast because I haven't seen him clean shaven in a very long time.
Oh yeah, I think he does in not Rizzoli and Isles. I can't remember which show it is.
Yeah, I think it might be Rizzoli and Isles. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's one I've been trying to get him for years, man.
Big time in ya, huh?
Oh yeah, he's been in so many awesome things. I love that guy.
Here's what I would say: if one of the purposes of this particular podcast episode is to steer people towards something, I would steer them toward the French version.
Oh
which
yeah,
I think is worth seeing and still possesses charm and some big laughs and I don't know if I would necessarily direct people toward the American version, whether they'd seen the French version or not. I just don't know if it has enough on its own to make it your favorite either Nick Nolte movie, your favorite Martin Short movie. I don't think it's either one of those. I don't think it's your favorite comedy of the year. I don't know that there's anything about it that demands a viewing 30 years later. So I'm going to say, if you have any interest, check out the French version.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. As far as this in the filmography of Veber, I think I did like it a little bit more than Le Chevre. I still think that those earlier ones, La Jouette and the Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe, and even The Dinner Game, I think I prefer all of those more. But yeah, it was a solid one for me as far as of all the movies that we've seen this month. And I think The Tall Blonde Man and The Dinner Game are probably my favorites from this entire month. But like I said last time, I'm excited to watch more of his films, and I've been grabbing them as much as I possibly can. And now, to our earlier point, I've even started looking at Pierre Richard's filmography and picking some stuff out that he directed himself. So here's to see that as well.
Mike White May next year, Pierre Richard films.
Pierre Richard returns. But we will not talk about the return of The Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe at all. So, yeah. But yeah, no, I think that this was a very solid entry in his filmography. And I'm actually curious because I don't remember if I ever saw Out on a Limb. I might be mixing it up with Doc Hollywood, different actor, of course, but maybe a similar situation. So I'm curious to actually watch that one. So you can find me watching some Pierre Richard films when I'm not podcasting.
I actually want to watch Les Competes, the like the Father's Day movie, because again, I like Pierre Richard and Gérard Depardieu. I actually think of the things I've seen this month, the pairing of the two of them has been the most rewarding. I think they work well off of one another. I wonder if that movie is where that falls in terms of the relationship and the comedy between the two of them, if that's a peak, a valley, or somewhere in between these two. So yeah, I similarly with Richard, I think at this point, check out the French one. And the American one, look, ultimately, at the end of the day, the highest compliment I can give it is it works better than Pure Luck. And I think that's because Nick Nolte's in it. And can you imagine, to end this conversation, to bring it all the way back to the end here, imagine if Danny Glover had been in this movie? Whoa, man. Because that's the thing, Richard. In the last movie we did, it was Martin Short and Danny Glover. And boy, did that not work. That was surprised. It was so tone deaf and comedy like starved. This movie at least made me laugh a couple times. But that Danny Glover and Martin Short together is like water and oil. And boy, no matter what you do, you cannot get them to mix, because it was not funny. But yeah, that's again, damning with faint praise. But yeah, I think overall, Mike, this has been yet another successful Mike White May, or Mike White month, I guess, probably May or March. I mean, it kind of vacillates between the two, but
definitely a lot less depressing than some that we've had.
March of 2020, everybody. What a bad timing to watch Soviet post-apocalyptic movies while the world is literally falling apart. So that's always fun. And so we'll take a break, play some ads for some podcasts, and then we'll play a TV spot for the next episode.
From Weirding Way Media, Cambridge and Wishawn is a podcast about two guys' obsessions, passions, and hobbies. Those two guys are
Mark Bigley, host of Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror,
and Ronald Zerigian, host of the Skelevator YouTube channel.
Each month we talk about the toys, comics, movies, books, TV shows, and other cultural phenomena that captured our imaginations and helped shape who we are today.
From Masters of the Universe to Saturday Night Live, Star Wars to Harry Houdini, The Muppets to The Elephant Man, Ronnie and Mark dive deep into the recesses of their minds to pull out treasured memories of things lost but never forgotten.
Join us on the first Tuesday of each month over at weirdingwaymedia.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Join me, Jamie Benning, on the Filmumentaries podcast, particularly if you enjoy stories like designer Nilo Rodis Jamiro convincing George Lucas to push him around to help gain the support of his crew on the ailing Howard the Duck.
Blam! The door opens, it's George. Everybody gasps. George makes a beeline to me. I'm literally back against the wall.
Or hear puppeteer Tim Rose's emotional story behind that iconic Admiral Akbar shot in Return of the Jedi.
I believe the war is something to be proud of, but not to celebrate.
Or how Star Wars editor Paul Hirsch tackled cutting so many successful films.
The thing that I learned from working with De Palma is that tension depends on a clock. You need to have the sense that time is running out.
Maybe Oscar-winning sound designer Mark Mangini's insightful chat about his work on Blade Runner 2049.
Not a single sound from the original Blade Runner in the new film. A great deal of inspiration.
That's the Filmumentaries podcast with me, Jamie Benning.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings.
There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted.
A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes.
And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
you gotta go where the freedom is, don't you? You're gonna go to waste in Portland. Come to New York.
What as?
Huh?
What as?
What do you mean,
What as? Your girlfriend?
Just tell me what as.
It's nearly Thanksgiving. Why don't you come as a turkey?
I don't want to play in your yard. I don't like you anymore.
What would you think if I asked you to do something that might seem a little selfish?
Well, I think you should.
Good, because I'd like you to take a look at my work and tell me what you think.
You'll be sorry when you see me sliding down our cellar door.
I'd say you tell Mr. Morgan and Mr. DuPont and Mr. Rockefeller to get over there and do some of the fighting.
You can holler down our rain barrel. You can climb our apple tree. I can't work around you.
You tell me why you're doing this.
I'm not taken seriously when you're around.
When I'm around, you're not taken seriously.
Oh, God, this is not good. I don't want to play in your yard if you won't be good to me.
If you were mine, I wouldn't share you with anybody or anything.
There's something that I have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me anything.
No?
No. You want to get married? Does this mean that we have to cheat, or is this free and independent marriage? You're a lying Irish whore from Portland, and you used me to get Jack Reed to marry you.
Who?
What do you mean, who?
Who was it?
Who was what? Jack dreams that he can hustle the American working man, whose one dream is to be rich enough not to have to work, into a revolution led by his party.
Is the Socialist Party prepared to take a position on the draft or not?
The officer, these men have the legal right to assemble.
What the hell are you doing?
Me? I write.
You right?
Huh?
You wrong.
I'd rather be with a fighter who wants to change the world than a critic who wants to mourn it.
Well, the place to be now is Russia.
You don't have to tell me what's happening in Russia. I read the papers.
Well, come with me.
What you and we'll join you in revolution. Revolution is dissent.
Always.
You don't rewrite what I write.
So in the next episode, we're going to be talking about Reds, not communists, though.
I think they are, aren't they?
Is that what it's about? Is it about communists?
It could be. I don't know.
The Warren Beatty movie?
Yeah.
Which I thought I was on the hook for because I got an email from your guest and he said, when are we recording that? I said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You're not on that one, best I know. It is a busy episode. There will be 3 guests. So I won't name who, because if one of them doesn't show up, at least I didn't promise something that didn't happen. But it's going to be...
One of them's raring to go, Chris. So.
I can only imagine. And I know 2 of the 3, so I could only guess which one it is. But yeah, that's going to be a packed episode, and we'll be kicking off Epic Month, I think is what we're going for. Because like you alluded to, Mike, you and I and Father Malone are going to be watching Noah at some point, which, okay. I'm excited because I've never seen it. Also talking Apocalypto, Gangs in New York. So going to be a pretty packed month. Until then, where can people find you and the things that you work on, Richard Hatem?
We're in the middle of season 1. We're getting some really nice reviews on Apple Podcasts and on our Facebook group. People are really seeming to enjoy it. I talk about paranormal books and I talk about my life and the connection therein. It's funny. Sometimes it's moving. Check it out.
What about you, Mike White?
Did you get my 1-star review where I talked about how political you are and it doesn't belong in your podcast?
I've been looking for that one. My favorite one so far is the one where it's like, I like this podcast. My eyes glaze over when he starts talking about his personal life, when he talks about his wife or going to college, and then I suddenly listen again when he's just talking about the book. But can't wait for the next one.
Didn't somebody take issue with you saying Jesus Christ?
You know what? I said Jesus fucking Christ in one episode, and someone took issue with it. And I'm like, the great thing about podcasts, I can go back and take it out of that episode.
Was Jesus not fucking Christ?
I was thinking that the best thing about podcasts is you can choose not to listen then.
Fuck you. I was about to say, Richard, you haven't been doing this long enough, apparently.
No, but it's funny because there were like, I thought about it and I'm like, well, was that super important? Like, was that a point I wanted to make? There are other points that I've made that if people complained about it, I wouldn't change. But I'm like, you know what? All right, I can take out the Jesus fucking Christ. That's fine with me. So
you heard it here first,
listener,
folks.
if you're out there somewhere, I took out Jesus fucking Christ. It's no longer in there. It was also in the script for an upcoming one. I noticed. I took it out of that one too.
Wow. I wonder if I have the real version downloaded, the rare Jesus fucking Christ cut.
The JFC
before I took out the guns and just put in flashlights.
That's right. That's right.
Man, we're getting a Snyder cut all over again with Hatem over here. My God, you're acquiescing? Jesus, man. It's just, you know what they say? It's a slippery slope. Yeah. It's a slippery slope out here in podcast land.
Well, if you want to hear about me, I'm over fucking Jesus Christ on my podcast, Projection Booth Podcast, which is available at projectionboothpodcast.com and is part of the Weirding Way Media Network, unlike Richard Hatem's Paranormal Bookshelf.
Mike, so what you're trying to say is if they want to hear somebody say Jesus fucking Christ, yours is the podcast for that.
It's basically Mike Jesus fucking Christ White. So
got it.
Go.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Change it on your fucking business card at this point because man, I'm not gonna be able to unthink that. Yeah.
Well, it's like we always say about, cancel culture and stuff. You don't alienate an audience, you just gain a new one. So
right.
That's happened here today.
Yeah.
It's not called being canceled. It's just called you found your audience. I don't get it. Gina Carano's still fine. All those right-wing psychos just love her.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Louis C.K. is getting more specials, and Dave Chappelle never has stopped getting specials.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God,
and just think only one of them jerked
canceled.
off in front of people.
Yeah. Just lay on that trans hate. It's fine.
I've never heard more from anyone in the world than people who got canceled.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Exactly.
that's the way and often paired with a bullshit apology even sometimes. And then they just go back and do the same thing.
I'm
Weird.
being censored as my message gets to more ears than it ever has before.
It would never be censored on a platform like X, formerly known as Twitter, which was taken over by a psycho who doesn't care about censorship, right? Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of places you can't find me, I don't interact on social media too much, but you can find everything that I do work on, like Mike already alluded to at Weirding Way Media, aside from one thing, which the three of us do once a month, which is sitting and talking about James Bond. And if you are into that, you can find that at Mike's Patreon or my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Kulturecast or patreon.com/projectionbooth, respectively. For $10 a month or more, you can hear me and Mike and sometimes Richard, who's drinking. Richard's there, but sometimes he's drinking and sometimes he's not. You were like, I'm going to do a cocktail every episode. And sometimes you do it and sometimes you don't.
Wait a second. I drink every single time.
But I don't think you always talk about it.
No, you got to talk about the cocktail.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I don't highlight my in this movie, we go to Jamaica, so I'm having a special.
Should have had some Goldschlager for the Goldfinger episode.
Can you imagine?
You should have been doing fireballs for Thunderball.
Live and let die. What, like a Colt 45?
Live and let Diet Coke.
Live and let Diet Coke and rum.
I can't beat that.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll write that cookbook. We'll just be like the James Bond cocktail one. It's just all the titles the stupidest way possible. That's what the world's waiting for. But yeah, that's where you can find that. And weirdingwaymedia.com. Like, rate, and review the show on iTunes, please. Regardless of where you get it, iTunes is a place where most people get it. It's where more than 70% of people listening to podcasts can find podcasts. So like, rate, and review it on iTunes. Take a second, please do it. It helps us out, and it's just a moment of your day. As for the three of us, thank you, Mike, for programming the month. It's been fantastic. Richard, thank you for joining us and rounding out the month as well. It's it's always a pleasure for the three of us to get together and talk something not James Bond, which you've talked a lot of James Bond in the last year.
I know. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.